girl, like, you know, get over yourself. That's just plain bullying. Like, people would be so mad. Hi everyone, I hope you're doing good. Welcome back to a new video. So today is part 2 of the stereotypes in Emily in Paris. I'm French, so obviously I'm gonna, you know, review what she did, what she said, and we're gonna see if it's true or false. So yeah, let's go into the video. Alright, so I'll put part 1 of this video into the description box if you want to go see that. But the first stereotype we're going to react to is the fact that Americans live to work and French people work to live. And I would say that's def true. Like, there's no other way to put it into words. It's definitely true. The one thing that I look at, you know, that already tells you a lot about the differences between France and the US is that in France, we get, so in Europe, we get 4 years, I wish. We get 4 weeks of mandatory paid vacation per year. And in France, we get 5 weeks of paid vacation per year. Plus, we have other little days that you can take here and there. But yeah, 5 weeks is like, I think it's probably the highest in Europe. I'm not exactly sure, but it's definitely above what's mandatory under European law. And you could probably never take that away from French people. We'd be so mad if someone came and was like, no, you're gonna have 4 weeks now. Like, people would be so mad. So yeah, and also we don't work on Sundays. When I lived in the US, and actually even now that I live in Ireland, you know, you get used to everything being open pretty much 24/7 or every day at least, even though some stores close at night here, they're still open every day of the week. When I go to France, I forget. So sometimes I'm like, oh, we can go shopping tomorrow. No, it's Sunday, everything's closed. Like, there are exceptions, especially when Christmas comes around and, you know, it's kind of crazy and everyone has to do their presents and all. Then people will open their stores. They have like special authorizations to be able to open during that time. But other than this, it's like a big debate whether France should kind of follow other countries and open on Sundays, but it's kind of hard. And I'm not against it. I think you can definitely manage the other days of the week. And so for comparison, in the US, from what I know, I think you get, if you're from the US, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you do get a minimum of 2 weeks paid vacation per year, but that's like not for everyone. So it depends on your job, I think. There are some people who don't get that minimum paid vacation, which, you know, that would never work in France. People would be so mad. We do like to work, but it has to be reasonable. So yeah, I'd say that stereotype is pretty true. All right, the next stereotype, I was kind of surprised about this, is, you know, that scene where she's ordering a steak and she's not happy with how it's cooked. So I don't know if it's a stereotype. I don't think it is, because like, Eric is from Canada, and when we've been to Canada, and it's also a thing to have different ways to cook your meat, and usually when you order food they'll ask you. So in France, I'll tell you all about how we cook our meat. So this is lesson of the day. So we have bleu. Bleu is pretty much raw, like they barely cook the meat. It's gonna be like pretty raw, yeah. And then we have saignant. So saignant means bloody. So it means what it means. It's gonna be pretty bloody, so there's gonna be like blood in your plate, and the meat's not gonna be very cooked, but it's not raw. Like, it's still a bit more cooked than raw. Some meat you should eat like this, because otherwise it's like trying to eat a tire. Like, it's gonna be like so hard and it's not gonna be good. So there are some types of meat that are meant to be cooked bloody, but then I guess it depends on your preferences. Some people just can't have it, and I understand. Like, I'm kind of one of these people, so I understand. So then we have à point. I think the equivalent, or more or less, is medium rare. So if you're American, you would know. And then we have bien cuit, that's well done. So that's like really, really cooked. No sign of like redness, not even a little bit, like super cooked. So the fact that she thinks it's not cooked in the show, I just think she's just not educated on how to cook meat. Americans eat a lot of meat, so I'd say that most Americans would know like how to cook meat, I would assume. At least when we watched the show, like Eric he's Canadian, not American, but he wasn't like, you know, he was like,
yeah, we compare meat to like this. Like, it's not weird, it's not like a French thing, it's not bizarre.
So I'd say that one's probably false. So I think I said that in a previous video, but I live in Ireland, so the lighting and the weather are very unreliable. So yes, you get to see me in different lightings today. So the next one is the fact that there's no elevator in our apartment building. So she lives in Paris. Paris is a historical city, so there's going to be historical buildings, and obviously some of them were built without an elevator. So I don't think it's a stereotype. I think it's just normal, and you know, no matter where you go, if a building was, you know, built in X year, then it's normal that it doesn't have all the technology that it would have now. Yeah, like it's just how it was built back in the day, and I don't think it's, you know, it's not weird, like it's just how it is. Now, another one was that everyone at her job was starting work late. And like she was waiting for them and they like wouldn't show up until like 10 or 11 or something. That is not true. We start work in France pretty early. I'd say 8 o'clock would be the norm. If you have more of a corporate job, I'd say maybe 9 o'clock. But then if you work in commerce, like at a store, you might even start earlier than 8, like 7 or 7:30. And then some days you might have to do the inventory, so you would like go there at like 4 or 5, you know, because you have to do that during the night when there's no clients. So yeah, like I think people probably wish that they would start that late, but I don't think that's true. I don't think it's the norm, at least, that you would start at 10 or 11. And then the last stereotype is that people will bully you if you don't speak French. So, you know, there's like a few scenes where she's at the company and they all speak French and they all like insult her and call her names and try to like tease her and kind of make her go a bit crazy because she can't understand, and we're trying to kind of like play with her. So they're bullying her, really. That's bullying. I think that stereotype is probably false. So one comment, first of all, if you're coming to France, you probably should know basic French. So I'm not saying, like, most people nowadays would speak English or like, you know, okay English to be able to like work together, at least you know, in that context. So it's okay if you're not fluent in French, in my opinion, but I would say that you would need to know at least the basics of French, because like she kind of shows up and she knows like nothing about the culture, nothing about the language. Like, girl, like, you know, get over yourself and make the effort to learn about the people who are going to welcome you. It's kind of crazy to me that you wouldn't do that. Obviously, you know, it's France, so we speak French, which is different from English, and you should know, in my opinion, the basics. You don't have to be fluent, but like hello, goodbye, maybe a few basic professional vocabulary. Like, you know, you should just make the effort to know a little bit about it, even though it's not perfect. No one's asking you to be perfect, but at least make the effort. I don't know, but I was like she doesn't even make the effort to like try and talk to them in French. So anyways, but that said, I think nobody would bully you for not speaking French. The behavior that they have in the show, calling her names and insulting her and playing with her and all that stuff, that's very inappropriate. Like, that's very inappropriate. And if I was working at a company that treated me like this, even though, like, you know, I didn't speak the language, I don't think that's a reason. There's no good reason to bully someone. So I would quit, and I think she probably should quit, because it's not okay to be treated like this. So yeah, and I don't think French people would do that. I think they just made that up for the show and to kind of make it interesting, but I don't think in real life people would bully you like this. And like calling you, I know they call her la Pluck. So Pluck in French is a term that is kind of negative for like farmers. So it pretty much describes someone who, you know, like dresses really bad, is not very classy at all, like speaks really like basic French, you know, like not very, appropriate language, not very educated. It's a very negative term. And when I was on my French channel talking about Idaho and living there and telling about all the amazing experiences that I had people comment, French people comment that like people living in Idaho are Pluck. And I was like, no, they're not, thanks, but no, don't say this. If you've never met them, if you've never been there, don't say that of someone, because that's very mean. And so the term Pluck is very mean, and so the fact that they call her that, that's very unprofessional, and that's very rude and very mean. And I wonder, even like, you could probably sue the company for that. So that's not a behavior that a French company would have or French people would have. That's just plain bullying. It's not even like a stereotype, it's just plain bullying, and you shouldn't let anyone bully you, and that's just not acceptable. So yes, that's my take on that one. Alright, so that's it for the stereotypes from Emily in Paris. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you've watched the show, what you thought of it. If you haven't watched the show, are you going to watch it now that you've seen this video? And let me know also where you're from. So yeah, I think that's it for me. I will see you next week for a new video. Bye!